When a seemingly beautiful relationship stop losing its vibes and suddenly becomes dull, vibeless, and a lot of uncertainty begins to set in, people begin to feel like something is off, or probably it just happened all of a sudden. But here's the thing: before a relationship gets to a point where it suddenly loses its savory, its taste, its spiciness, it's because there are some signs you fail to understand. And these signs are always there. The signs kept occurring and you just chose to ignore them. Before a relationship gets to a point where you no longer find yourself attractive, you see a person putting in more effort while the other party is showing some lackadaisical attitude, cold attitude, it's because of some seemingly reoccurring signs that one partner fails to understand. We all know that how beautiful a relationship can be. It leaves lasting memories, beautiful moments, such that even when you're not with your partner, you always remember the good times. But when you get to a point where every conversation suddenly becomes dry, quiet, you used to talk for hours, saying all sort of things, expressing yourself, but now sometimes you just talk for minutes and suddenly you're lost for words, you don't know what to say. You start becoming more like a parasyllabic sentence. How are you? How was work? Have you eaten? And stuff like that. And after that moment, you don't know what next to say because the vibe is not there and you really don't know how to express yourself. That's because something is wrong. Now, today we'll be looking at the signs you should look out for in a failed relationship because these signs start gradually, but sometimes we are carried away by stress, by personal life. We just feel like, okay, they're having their moments, everything is going to come around. But if these signs are consistent, you should know your relationship is headed towards doomsday. First and foremost, one of the signs of a failed relationship is conversation suddenly becomes empty. This is usually the first sign. Sometimes you call, your calls come in, you talk for hours, for minutes, you just have something to tell them. But suddenly conversations become dry and empty. You no longer have the vibe to want to carry them, uh, tell them about your day, your day to day lifestyle, and what is happening around you. This is because one person is actually beginning to lose interest. A second sign is they no longer carry you in their plans. Originally, whatever they did pre that moment, they always carry you about their plans. They tell you what they're doing, their goals, their next step, what they want to achieve, how their day went, and the rest. But suddenly, they no longer include you in their plans. They go ahead, they do this, they do things they want to do. They don't tell you when they're stepping out. They don't tell you how, what, you know, whatever they do, they keep to themselves. When you find yourself in a situation where you used to be part of your partner's life, but suddenly they go about their daily life and their personal things like their projects, their business, whatever they do, they don't see the need to include you. It's because they feel you are no longer or you're partially not part of their plans anymore. This is another sign of a failed relationship or a relationship that is about to fail. The third sign is small issue turns into big fight. A seemingly little argument degenerates to exchange of words, flips of temperament, and the rest. And you know, when love weakens, patience weakens as well. Originally, issues like this wouldn't have been blown out of proportion because then there was love and understanding. You want to call out your partner and say, "Oh, you did this. I would have preferred you handled it this way." But some seemingly little issues just blow out of proportion and you find yourself constantly engaging in argument, constant disagreement. The disagreement become too often. I'm not saying that every good relationship doesn't have its disagreement and some rift moment, but it seldomly happens. But when it gets to a point where constant argument in a period of a week, you've had heated argument like 3 or 4 times, these are signs that something is wrong. Look out for signs like this, and you should know that your relationship is headed towards doom. Because when someone is no longer interested in you, or when someone no longer considers you part of their life, whatever you do that irritates them seem to them very confrontational. But when someone is in love with you and things happen, they want to address it because they don't want to hold grudges. These are another signs of a failed relationship or a failing relationship. Another sign you should look out for in a failed relationship is effort becomes one-sided. You are the only one putting up the appearance. You're the only one calling, texting, reaching out. You're always the first to apologize because you want things to work. But on their part, they don't seem to put in the energy. And that's because to them, they are no longer in that relationship emotionally. They're just there physically, maybe for the things they could achieve or the things that benefits them. But emotionally, they are not invested in that relationship. That's where you find yourself in a position where even on days you ought not to apologize or days you feel offended, they don't apologize because they feel they've done nothing wrong. A person who is really and genuinely committed to you would not want you to be emotionally destabilized or emotionally unconscious because they feel whatever makes you happy makes them happy. But when it gets to a part where you constantly have to be the one apologizing. You're the first to reach out, the first to seek their consent on things. They no longer involve you in a lot of things. They just feel like you take some of the ideas to them and they just tell you whatever you do, it's okay. It seems and it means they are no longer feeling the vibe of that relationship. Another sign you should look out for is affection degenerate. You would agree with me that in a love circle, affection is one of the things that bonds partners together. Even when they are not there with you, the bond remains. You think about them, you wish them well. Sometimes out of reflex, you just pick up your call, you send them random text messages and random prayers. But when you no longer feel the vibe to want to wish your partner well, or you no longer feel the vibe to want to spice up their day, be it in text messages, prayers, or whatever it is, you no longer feel the day to want to invite them to probably a movie night, dinner date, and stuff like that. You see it like it's a no or it's a waste of time. It means your relationship has deteriorated to a point where you're no longer feeling the vibe. This is another sign that that relationship has problems. Another sign again of a failed relationship or a relationship that is headed towards failing is you keep repeating or revisiting the same problems again because nobody wants to actually solve the root of the problem. You keep getting back to repeated arguments over the same issue over and over again. And that's because the two parties are not willing to reach a common ground. Another reason people relationship goes south is because when all the signs begin to set in, people lose interest, people lose energy, and they become emotionally drained. You no longer feel the need to be committed. You no longer feel the need to pursue that relationship with all your strength because you're no longer seeing the future of yourself and that your partner. All these are signs of a failed relationship. And if you're experiencing any of this sign in a relationship, then you should check yourself or check the relationship out. Another sign of a failed relationship, and which I will cap with this, will not give this as the last, is you no longer feel the need to be involved with this person. Originally, you like to be seen with this person, you want to be, associated with this person, and you find yourself in some way or the other this trying to disentangle yourself. Probably invites are usually between yourself. When one person gets an invite, you just want your partner to go, you want to hold hands, you want to be seen in places together. You no longer feel the need to be associated with your partner. When you start having signs like this, or you start seeing some of these signs that I've mentioned in your relationship, you should know that one partner is slowly or quietly disengaging themselves from the relationship. If the relationship is bound to work and if you feel the need for the spark in the relationship, it's not a bad thing to iron things out and it could be rekindled. But if the affection, the call, the energy, emotional investment is one sided, then it's high time you check that relationship out. My name is Don Simple, and I give real relationship advice. And we do our best to help couples achieve common goals in relationship. If this message pop up your screen, do me a favor by liking and giving me a follow so that messages like this will pop up your screen. Do have a wonderful day. Peace.